Shades of Green on KDWN 720 and 101.5 FM in Las Vegas. Today's guests are Vanessa, Portillo, and Bryan Cabble from Garden Farms, and we're talking gardening and fruit trees and everything else. We talked about trimming fruit trees and growing fruit trees and some of the little things like that. Let's talk about how do we protect our plants and gardens and the things that are we want to keep going over the winter. What should we do to keep them going?
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't do anything. I don't do any season extenders or anything like that. If you wanted to try to nurse any warm season stuff through, you'd want to create kind of more like a greenhouse effect with some clear plastic, but you will need some venting because it can get, triple digits by 9 or 10 a.m. in the winter. Mm-hmm. We've seen some pretty hot greenhouses before. But Vanessa, was just talking about protecting the lettuces from too much cold. It's always just kind of funny, like we were laughing in one of the breaks, harsh winter here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's tough to kind of think of that sort of stuff, but definitely burlap on your citrus. And then in the garden, I'm just growing everything and letting it go, even if we catch a little frost, or we even had places where it snows a little bit as you get out towards the western mountains, and things are still just fine.
All your brassicas are pretty winter resistant, so like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, all those are super hardy. You don't have to worry about them freezing at all.
They'll take a little freezing. And some of the flowers are the same way. I've seen crocus grow up through the snow.
Oh yeah.
I was like, how do they germinate down there? But they do. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful thing to see those pretty flowers through the snow. Not that we get a crocus growing through much snow around here, but and how about the trees and how do we protect them?
Well, all the deciduous trees are dormant,
we need to?
So you don't have to do anything. Okay. But any of your evergreens like the citrus, or if you're trying to nurse an avocado or what have you, then it wouldn't hurt to kind of throw some burlap over it that lets the rain and the light through still considerably, and then keeps frost off the leaves.
So you just kind of make a tent over the top of it?
Yeah, just drape it
over, tie it around so it doesn't blow away.
There you go.
Get some of that anyway, I bet. Okay, all good. Tell us about the school programs. What are you teaching the children right now about upcoming colder weather? What do they got to do with their gardens?
Exactly. So just like what we're talking about today, just what crops we grow during certain times of year and why it's colder in winter. Based on the the tilt of the earth and where how much sunlight we're getting. All these different things. So we tie it back into math, science, reading, literature, all sorts of different things. I'm big on cultural anthropology and tying that back into the kids so they kind of see the story behind each crop. And we just try to, whatever they're working on, we always talk to the teachers and be like, hey, what are you guys doing this week? How can we tie that in? So our farmers come out each week to, the school accounts. And so we do a period of observation, let the students kind of run around and note the changes. That's when we kind of sidle up to the teacher and be like, what are you guys talking about? How can I tie this in, in the garden just to reinforce it for the kids who didn't quite get it in the classroom? But overall, they're learning how to grow their own food as well, and what grows when, and seeing how it grows, when to harvest, how to harvest.
Where do you see the most excitement from the kids?
During the harvest, definitely. Yeah. We really like to encourage the full cycle, so we'll be doing a lot of seed saving as well for all of our summer crops that are going to be fruiting, bolting, being removed right now. We really like to encourage that seed saving, and that way they could plant those seeds at their school the next year. So like we talk about, a lot of the places that we get our seeds from are from faraway places, say Vermont or something. So say a plant that's growing in Vermont, you plant it here in Vegas and it sprouts and it's like, where am I? What? It's not going to be as resistant to the extreme weather. But once you start planting the seeds that plant produces, and then you're planting your own, that cycle is going every year thereafter, it's going to be stronger and stronger.
Give me a 2-minute warning. And these seeds, tell us about, what do you do about the plants? Because I kind of leading into this. You want to have a certain plant or certain pieces that you say, okay, I'm going to leave that to go to seed. How long do you grow that? Or what do you do to prepare that plant for seeds?
You just let it go. So once the seed is starting to die, it's like, oh, I'm going to die. I better set out all my future children. So it starts spreading its seeds. And then the seeds form. Once the foliage is dead, the seeds are going to be ready to harvest. So they'll turn brown. And then you can harvest them and
internal and external seeds.
Yeah, and we whichever one's performing the best, that's the one you want to leave for seed, because you want the best genetics.
That's a good
So
point.
you're always harvesting the second best to eat, but the best stays for seed.
So, but my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the plant's real purpose is to make seeds.
It is.
So what you're doing is you're making it not make seeds by picking the fruit.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, I got to kick out another fruit to make some seeds.
Yeah.
So you don't want to take that very first one that comes out and go, oh, that's my seed fruit, because then it won't produce any more fruit.
Well,
or
actually,
vegetables.
for certain things, you do want to do that. So, like, if you're breeding tomatoes, if you're trying to breed for certain characteristics, so if you want a really early tomato, then that very first tomato that plant produces, that's the one you want to harvest seed from. Because that was the earliest, that was the fastest, the best. So anything that's produced later on in the season isn't going to have those same genetic traits.
Interesting. Okay, good point. So how do you do that? That first tomato comes out, you're just dying to pick it.
Yeah, well, luckily you can still eat it. You just squeeze out the seeds and the pulp, and then you can eat the tomato. But that seeds and the pulp, then for tomatoes, you got to ferment their seeds.
How so?
Well, you let some white mold grow on them. So I'll do a little bit of unchlorinated water, so not out of the tap, but just some good water. Mix it up with the pulp and seed, kind of shake it up in a mason jar, and then set it so there's a cover, but it can still breathe. So not the mason jar lid, but like some cheesecloth or a napkin, whatever you have, and just let it sit there for a few days. Grow some white mold on it, and then you just rinse it, shake it off, and start drying out the seeds. And then you got your tomato seeds ready to go.
Now, how about those tomatoes I've kept too long and they start sprouting through the skin?
Oh, those are always fun. And then we've had some eggplant. We recently cut open some eggplant at one of the middle schools, and there's tons of little sprouts. I was like, that's so cool.
It's gone so long. And will those grow?
Yeah.
So if they're popping through the sides, and I always thought that would be cool to take a whole tomato, cut some holes, and let them grow out, and just plant the whole thing. Some kind of a tomato.
That would be rad, yeah.
All good, all good. So tell us about, how do homeowners get involved with you, or businesses that want to use your services? How do they connect with you?
Sure, there's gardenfarms.net, or there's Garden Farms on Instagram, Facebook, or call 551-GROW. And we can come out, give you a free estimate, some ideas about what you can do and where is the best site. And so then we'll draw you up an estimate, and you decide from there whether you want to go for it or not.
What's a typical consulting fee?
Well, that first consultation, that's free.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
it's just whatever it costs to build the garden, if you want to go forward or not.
So then if they want to use your services like throughout the whole year, then you have some kind of service fee.
Yeah, so we have like a monthly maintenance fee. So same sort of thing, once a week. We pick a day and time that works for you and come out and teach you how to grow your own food.
Is it based on square footage or hours you spend there, or what?
Yeah, kind of a little bit of both. It depends on what your specific needs are. We're pretty malleable.
Yeah,
So.
some people like weekly service, some like bi-weekly, some like monthly service. Some people just want us to come and prune their fruit trees. So it's just what
It'd be interesting to see some pictures of the gardens that you guys are working on out there that are in homes, so that people could know that they have this kind of opportunity. This is what I could do at my house with a little help, because like I said, it's much tougher in Nevada or in Las Vegas to grow a garden than it would be like in Reno.
Yeah, it's just all about timing.
It is about
That's the
timing.
key.
Well, okay, thank you for all that. This has been a great show. Again, I love you guys on this show. So let's talk about some events. You got a market focus event coming up.
Yeah, in March, we have a school-wide farmers market coming up. It's going to be at the Summerlin Library. That one is on Saturday, March 2nd. And so that's an opportunity for the kids to have a farmers market in a real-world setting where people are coming just to buy produce instead of at their school.
And of course, we got Greenfest coming up on 4/20. Let's not get confused with that date. Greenfest is the greatest Earth Day show in Las Vegas. And Green Alliance memberships, if you go to greenalliancenv.org and sign up and become a Green Alliance member, it's got great benefits. And we'll be back next week on Shades of Green on KDWN. Have a great week and keep it green out there.
Ooh.
Right to the line.